Hi Becky, thank you very much for having me.
My pleasure. So would you like a grand tour of my home?
I would love to, if you could talk me through your flat.
Well, the first thing that you kind of notice is I have a lot of umbrellas. They are, everyone might need an umbrella at any point in time.
That's very true, we do live in London.
I think my favourite one is probably my parrot. You might recognise him from Mary Poppins. He came back from America with me last year after I left a job, and as I left the job my team said to me, oh, you've been just like Mary Poppins. You've flown in, you've sorted us out, and now you're flying off again. So I thought, yeah, I like that analogy. I think a Mary Poppins umbrella is in order, and he's pretty cute. The rest are mostly stolen from various friends, so hopefully they won't see this. And then the other thing in the hall that is generally quite popular with all of my friends and relations and loved ones, most of whom want it after I've gone, is this tube map, which is Beck's tube map. This is a 1936 version, so 1933 was when Henry Beck made the first tube maps. This is quite an early one. It's not real, it's a replica, but this would have shown you what the tube lines were like back then. There's some on there that we no longer have, and there's others that we recognise. And I'm a bit of a tube geek. I really love the tube and tube facts and tube history. And this one here, Strand, is now closed, and it went out of service I think in 1994. But you can sometimes on special occasions and special days go down and go underground on tours with TfL, so which I've done.
Oh, you have done? Wow.
Definitely recommend doing that. So yeah, so this is the hallway. Here are some attractive scratch marks from when I had to get a sofa out. And this used to be bright, dark, like mauve. And there's no windows in here, so I decided that white was definitely a much better colour. Unfortunately I decided that and then decided to move a red sofa out. So it's got quite a lot of touching up on it. So this is the Horrocks boudoir. It is, I think it's quite a boudoir. The ideas for it kind of grew up around the Horrocks's adverts, which are at the end of the room. Probably not related to the cotton manufacturer Horrocks's, who were kind of working in the 18th century. They made sheets, and then they were the first manufacturer to make off-the-peg clothing, kind of high-end off-the-peg clothing. And in fact, the Queen, for example, wore Horrocks's dresses. And then, so the three adverts are old Horrocks's adverts, and then the photograph at the end is the three lovely ladies, are my nan in the middle and her two sisters either side, and my nan is a Bond because she's my mum's mum, but she's actually wearing a Horrocks's maternity dress in that photo. So years before my parents even met, when my mum was just a twinkle in my nan's eye, there was a Horrocks's connection in the family, which is quite nice. So the colours of the poster, the pink on the beautiful Horrocks's, kind of inspired the colour of the room and the blanket. And I had done this and then decided at about 4 p.m. one day, I think it was on a Thursday, that the room should be peacock blue. And so went to B&Q, bought the peacock blue paint. I was actually inspired by an Australian murder mystery programme called Miss Fisher. She has a room this colour, and I decided I needed a room this colour also. So it was fun. It was a fun midnight. Please don't zoom in too closely on the paintwork. It's decidedly dodgy in places. One of the things in the room, one of the things that is a common theme in many of my rooms is old books. These ones, as you can see, go with the colour scheme, so they're there for aesthetic purposes, but also because I love them all. Two of them are written by Nancy Mitford, who is one of the Mitford sisters, who are a famous family, you can Google them. and they're both first editions, and there are other Nancy Mitford first editions scattered around the place. There are also some old kind of pieces of accessories in here. There's quite a few hats up there, and that little handbag is really cute, and it's got a little hidden story to tell within it. So this was bought for me for my birthday last year by a really close friend. I was going to a 1930s hotel and for a 1930s evening, so she bought me this 1930s handbag, and inside it has a beautiful handkerchief that she bought also, but then tucked inside we noticed that it actually has the name card from Selgood Park, which is a hotel out Guildford Way, and obviously Mrs. L. Goodchild, whoever she is, bought this handbag and slipped her place card into her handbag one day after dinner, and there it stands. So I think that's just lovely because it has real connection to the past and just makes me wonder who this lady was. And then the other handbag that's quite interesting and exciting is this one up here, which is was given to me by a wonderful old lady who you might know quite well, your grandmother, who just had it thrown in the bottom of a wardrobe. And I was going to a 1940s party and I saw it in the bottom of her wardrobe. I was like, "Oh, Heidi, can I borrow this handbag?" And she's like, "Oh, that old thing. Oh, you should just have that." And, you know, it's a beautiful Russell and Bromley crocodile handbag. Oh, okay. That would be amazing. And then I think there's another common thing in many of the rooms. This is the Audrey in this room, which is an Audrey Hepburn postcard. But there's an Audrey to spot in most rooms, so I'm sure we'll find them. And then lastly, I think the thing that really makes the room is this giant glitter ball. Who doesn't need a giant glitter ball in their life? I spent 9 months working in Manchester, and I stayed in a hotel called the Velvet, which is on Canal Street. I would highly recommend it. And every night I would come home and I'd have a cocktail, and that cocktail was called a glitter ball. It was 4 different types of flavoured vodka. I can't tell you what they are because I've been sworn to secrecy by the barman. Poured over edible glitter and topped up with lemonade and dressed with a glacé cherry. So obviously, after 9 months of drinking those every day, I was in an alcoholic stupor. But as a memory of that fun time of my life, my team bought me my very own glitter ball. Lucky me. So this is my sitting room, formal sitting room. It is literally just got enough room for sitting in, and it's kind of where I watch telly, really. But it was one of the rooms that I kind of first decorated when I had the flat to myself, and it was after I went to India. So I went to Mumbai to visit a friend, John, who was working out there, and I saw this cushion cover in a market, just, you know, typical Bombay market, and I just really loved the colours and the kind of mutedness of it, and it looks really old. And I thought, I really like this colours. I think that would work really well in a kind of formal sitting room. And kind of from that, everything just kind of sprung, really. So the wall colour, which is called Graceful Green. I don't think the red green, but it's called Graceful Green. And then this picture here of the bird, which was also from India, which is from the Prince of Wales Museum in Mumbai. And then everything else just kind of grew up around it, and it's turned a bit into a menagerie, really. It's got cheetahs, brass bird, more birds, the other cheetah, there's a flamingo in the corner, which is the most recent addition from when my friend Emily and I went to Miami recently. There's also another Nancy Mitford book in that corner, which is Don't Tell Alfred, which the cover is made by Cecil Beaton, and decorated by Cecil Beaton. And then just hiding around the corner are some butterflies and a monkey. And then this planter here is a faux Victorian planter that I lusted after and was in my friend's sitting room, and I wanted it and I wanted it and I wanted it so much. And she said when she died I could have it. Well, thankfully she isn't dead. She's very much alive and well. She's the lady who gave me the handbag. But she got bored of her planter and she gave it to me. And literally 2 weeks after she gave me my planter, I was bumbling around a junk shop in Winchester, and I saw 2 of them for sale. So, and then also in here is this beautiful mirror. The story behind the mirror is that it was for sale in a antique shop in Hampton Wick, which is around the corner from my cousin's. But the antique shop was never open, and my cousin and I lusted after this mirror, and my cousin lusted after a 1930s mirror. And my uncle, who's very practical, said, well, have you thought about he's from up north, have you thought about putting a note through the door? Inspired. So my uncle put this note through the door, and the chap rang us back, and we were able to buy both the mirrors for, I think, less than £100 each. So we both got the mirrors of our dreams, and eventually my poor dad had to, it's very heavy, my poor dad had to secure it safely to the wall, but it's very lovely and I love it very much. So yeah, that's kind of how this room kind of formed and became what it is. It's also where I put extra guests, because the old sofa turns into a sofa bed, which is handy when this place gets a bit full sometimes. And it's my friend's 5-year-old who refers to it as his bedroom. It's not my sitting room, it's Jasper's bedroom.